Hi, this is Bob Kramer. I'm here in Kramer's Garage. Today's video is about the cylinder head service on a vintage Honda Goldwing. I'm working on a GL 1100 and this is the cylinder head for that bike. All right. Um, in today's video, I'm going to show you how I slightly reshape the intake ports, hand lap the valves, and leak test the valves to make sure that they have a good seal on the head. Now, the heads, I had them bead blasted and then milled. So they were bead blasted and milled by a cylinder head shop nearby. And then they also reground the seats for me, but they did not use cutters. They used a grinding stone, which leaves a leaky seat in general. So this is going to require hand lapping and then leak testing. So what follows is my procedure for reshaping the intake port, which you can see here. I've already done this one, and you'll see how I did it in the video. And then we'll be hand lapping the valves. Hello, this is Bob Kramer. Welcome to Kramer's Garage. I'm attempting to make some videos of some of my mechanical work. I work a lot on Honda Goldwings, vintage Goldwings, and today I am working on a pair of cylinder heads from a 1980 Honda Goldwing. So as you can see, these heads have been cleaned up, they've been milled, and the valve seats have been resurfaced. So today what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of material out of the intake ports. As you can see, the intake ports have a bit of a hump in them right here at the entrance to the valve. And so what I like to do is grind that down just a little bit with a Dremel. I started to do this one. These ones are already done on this head, and so you can see the shape of that port is just slightly different now. I don't know how well you can see it in the video, but the port is going from more of an oblong shape to more of a round shape with a little bit of grinding and sanding. I'm using primarily a Dremel tool with a small sanding drum in it. That's the main tool for this. And then I also use a flap wheel like that. And then I'll finish it off with one of these fiber wheels. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to let the camera run while I do some of the work so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so here goes the flap wheel. Just try to smooth that out in there. I'm not polishing the intake ports. I just want to make them smooth and get good airflow, but when you polish them, it sometimes disturbs the airflow a little bit. So we're just gonna get down in here, clean that up a little bit with the flap wheel. And keep in mind, these are 40 plus years old. Make sure there's no burrs on that intake port. Okay, so you can see how much metal I've removed this is from 2 ports. Um, and here they are now, what they look like now. Okay, you can see I've changed that profile. It was more or less egg-shaped, now it's more or less round. Um, this is my grinding compound. Put the compound on the valve, oil the stem, put it in the hole. You. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of them on this head, and then we'll put it together and leak test it. Stay tuned. Okay, back to the cylinder head project. I'm getting ready to assemble the cylinder heads, and I'm going to assemble them for leak test purposes first, without valve seals, and then I will, once I verify that I don't have leaky valves, then I will assemble them, take them apart, put the valve seals in, and assemble them again. This way I don't damage the valve seals putting valves in and out more than one time. Okay, I've thoroughly cleaned the heads and the valves, so we're ready to reassemble. Putting the spring washer on first. Get a spring washer, and then I'm on the intake side. This is number 4. Put oil on it. Oil the valve stem. And then number 4 is over here. Make sure it's moving freely. And then we take the springs. There's an inner and an outer. The coil is a little tighter at the bottom of the spring than it is at the top. You have to look at it pretty close to tell the difference. Set the spring in there, like so. And then the top piece goes like that. And then our valve spring compressor. Open it wide open. And this has to fit in here this way. Bring that down like so. And then our valve keepers go in next. Two halves. All right, and then we release the spring compressor part way. Make sure that keeper is in position, and it is. Now I'm going to release it the rest of the way. Now, to make sure that that valve is properly seated and the valve keeper is properly seated, what we do next is tip it like this. Make sure your block of wood is not in the way, because you don't want the valve to hit anything. And we tap the valve with a plastic mallet like that. And make sure that that keeper is seated, and it is. And now we're ready to do the next one. So I'm going to assemble all four like this, and then we'll leak test the head and make sure that the valves are all sealed up and not leaking. All right, you may have noticed that I assembled the head without the valve guide seals, and there's a reason for that. I'm going to leak test first, and after I verify that all the valves are sealing correctly, then I'll take it apart and put the seals in. In case I need to take it apart and regrind the valve seats with lapping compound, I don't want to damage the seals putting the valves in and taking them out again. So for leak test, okay, so I pour distilled water. Make sure it's distilled water so we don't leave any mineral deposits. in the exhaust port. I'm on the exhaust side, so it's distilled water. Put a little distilled water in it. I've got the port filled about halfway up, and then I blow compressed air all the way around the face of the valve and look for bubbles. Now sometimes a little air gets trapped in there when you pour the water in. So
no leaks on that one. There's two small leaks, one here and one there. So I'm going to take this back apart and lap those again. Stand by for the next leak test.
I'm not sure if I showed you guys how I take it apart. I'm going to check that out in my other videos. Anyway, I put the spring compressor on like that, squeeze it down pretty hard, picked up a bearing with my magnet, and then I use the magnet to get the keeper out. And then gradually release the spring. Put this back over here where it was. Push that out. This one was not leaking. And this is number, which cylinder? This is number 2. Make sure I get them in the right place. And it was leaking right here. Let's have a look at that. I don't see anything there that should cause that to leak. That should not, I would say that should not be leaking. I suspect I had a little speck of something there. I'm going to wipe this and make sure that that's real clean. And same in here. If you have a speck of dust or grinding compound or anything caught in there, it's going to show up as a leak. These have to be extremely clean. I'm going to recheck this one because it appeared as though it should not be leaking. Okay, I'm finished lapping valves. I've leak tested everything. We're not leaking. It took me quite a bit of time to get everything, all 4 valves to not leak. But anyway, now I'm going to put the valve guide seals on, lubricate them. I like to use some of this really thick oil that's designed for repairing problems, I guess. But anyway, it's really thick and sticky and stays in place, and I really like it for assembling things like this. There we go. You have to carefully kind of rock these into position. They are tight, and they can be easily damaged. Okay, there. All right, all the seals are in place. So now we'll stand it up. And this is my number 4 intake, so I have to make sure I get the correct valve. One more thing, I like to put a light film of oil over the valve seats before I assemble. I'm using thin Marvel Mystery Oil for this, just to get a little coating on there. Okay. Number 4 is this one. Okay, and I'm going to coat the valve stem. I'm going to put a drop of oil, or a few drops of oil in the seal to make sure I can. All right, now when you push the valve stem up to the seal, you need to press that with your finger until the valve comes through. Press the seal with your finger a little bit lightly. All right, and then I want to rotate the valve, make sure it feels nice and smooth on the seat. Yeah, good. Okay, nice and smooth. And then we're going to put the springs on. Again, the tighter winding of the coil goes down. Okay. Get the spring compressor. This spring compressor works quite well, but it is a little bit cumbersome. Valve keeper. I'm going to turn this a little bit, maybe you can see it better. 1/2 of the keeper. Okay, both sides of the keeper are in. So I'm going to release this slowly. Make sure the keeper grabs. And it did. There. Okay. And then the final step here, of course, is to tap that a couple times to make sure the keeper is seated in there. Okay, let's get the number 2 intake. All right, that head is assembled. Wipe off some of the excess oil and whatnot, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, the next phase of this head assembly would be to put the cams in, which I'm not going to do right now. The cams are laid out over here on the other side of the workbench. There's the cams for these heads. Obviously, this is the first head that I've put together. There's the valves for the second head sitting there. And then this is part of a complete engine rebuilding project. The block is sitting over here. It's just sitting there right now. The transmission is back in place. I put a new transmission in it, and the pistons are not in yet because I'm waiting for piston rings. When the new rings come in, I'll be able to finish that project. I'll do a video on it. If you guys like my videos, give me some thumbs up or something to let me know you like the videos, and I'll keep making them. If I don't get any any thumbs up or positive comments, maybe I'll stop making them. But anyway, that's all I've got for now on this video. Hope you enjoyed it.